ladies and gentlemen. I'm Annette Donner, and thank you for joining this 90-minute Liberation Day special. The program this evening is a memorial to the Chamorro people and the patriotic determination with which they awaited the return of the United States of America to the shores of their island. This is not a story of warfare, of the bad guys versus the good, although there will be some military footage. No, this is a personal story of the Chamorro people and their lives during those days, of their sacrifices, their loyalty, their dignity, and most of all, their determination to stick it out until Uncle Sam came back. Much of the footage used to tell this personal story is Marine Corps footage, recently declassified and sent to Guam from Washington, D.C. In that film, local people may be able to see their families, their friends, maybe even themselves as youngsters, as they walked out of the concentration camps and into the resettlement camps those first days after liberation. But the first 30 minutes of tonight's special will be a black and white movie made in the early 1950s. We offer it as a historical reference to the times. We ask that it be accepted in that spirit.
Guam in the Marianas. Guam in the late 1930s. Guam in the twilight of peace. A languorous island where native Chamorros pursue their placid, age-old ways. This is United States territory in the far Pacific. Heritage of the 1898 war with Spain. Half-forgotten stepchild among America's overseas possessions. Under the guardianship of the United States Navy, life has remained serene, unruffled. But the pattern of history is changing, and naval authorities on Guam plead in vain with Congress to fortify the strategic island while time remains. Peace is but a mask behind which lurks the ugly face of war. Already Japanese bayonets cast lengthening shadows on Guam and on its people. American garrison on Guam. Only a few hundred Marines. A fact duly noted 1,600 miles to the north in Tokyo, where the warlords of Japan convene to plot the means by which they will hammer out the greater East Asia co-prosperity sphere, to the greater glory of the Emperor. The geographic names which the militarists weigh in their deliberations are heavy with coming history. Pearl Harbor and the Philippines, Borneo and Hong Kong, Malaya and Singapore. But there is another, lesser-known name to be integrated into the plan, and that name is Guam. Guam, the American pillbox without guns in the Marianas. Saipan, Tinian, Rota are Japanese. Southernmost is Guam, and Guam is doomed. On the entire island, there is no defensive weapon larger than a .30 caliber machine gun. The hopelessly outnumbered Marines face 5,000 fully equipped Japanese landing troops. December 10th, 1941. Guam is overwhelmed. Guam is now Japanese. But the sun has set for the Chamorros, and during the long night ahead, Guam is forced to muster with Saipan and Tinian, and the three islands form a cluster of death traps across the path leading north to Japan, west to the Philippines. With every passing month of occupation, the Japanese impose increasingly harsh restrictions on Guam and its people, using every device of pressure and propaganda to integrate forever the island into their empire. For 2.5 years, Guam waits, secured and beyond reach within the Japanese wall of water and steel. But in June 1944, incredibly, miraculously, powerful United States naval forces appear off the Marianas as the Allies, on the other side of the world, storm ashore at Normandy. The ebb tide has given way to the flow. Now it is the Americans who bear down on Guam in overwhelming strength. Now it is the Japanese who are doomed. Under Admiral Spruance, ships of the United States Fifth Fleet have brought 100,000 troops and 250,000 sailors to the Marianas. Saipan is the first target. Saipan, headquarters of Japan's Central Pacific Fleet, commanded by Admiral Nagumo, the same Nagumo who smashed Pearl Harbor. Saipan, whose loss rings from the Emperor's supreme naval advisor the anguished cry, "Hell is upon us." On Guam, the assault troops inch forward against suicidal Japanese resistance. And while soldiers and Marines struggle for each yard of earth, far to the